Happy New Year and welcome back to Game Week 20 predictions. The first matches we're going to go through in 2026. They're coming thick and fast right now. What are the points?
Well, the points are 4 points to Thogden, 5 points to Thogdad. You know what? Every little helps there.
Yeah.
Start 2026 the way you mean to go.
Overall, I'm still winning, which is important.
Scores are on the doors.
So what's the first game?
And the first game is Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest. It is 3rd against 17th, Theo. It's a tasty Midlands derby. Two teams who lost last week. Now, that's pretty special, Theo. How many teams won last week? Do you know?
3, I guess.
3 out of 20. You know your stuff, actually.
Well, there weren't many. It was loads of 0-0 draws. Couldn't stop them. I mean, what was it worth watching all that TV for?
Oh, my
On
goodness.
New Year's Day.
Yesterday.
Shocking.
I'm sorry, but we'll talk about that later. Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest, Theo. Villa's record, that incredible record, ended in style at the Emirates. But their home record, Theo, they have won the last, 10 games?
That's unbelievable. That Villa Park record, I think it's the whole 10, isn't it?
It's absolutely brilliant, Theo. So a massive shout out to Aston Villa for their 2025, for their season to date, and that's still 6 points ahead of Liverpool, but maybe the title dream is over.
Yeah, well, they got smashed at Arsenal, let's not forget that. Unai Emery didn't shake hands with Mikel Arteta. What do you think about that?
Naughty that. I didn't see what that's about, but passions are high, Theo. Let's just move beyond that.
Yeah, I think he glanced over and Arteta was celebrating with all his staff, so he
Yeah.
kind of just thought, well, I'm not going to wait around here, straight in.
Fair enough. You know what?
Arteta took it very personally, though. Spanish on Spanish manager.
It's all about a winning mentality, Theo. You don't do what Villa have done without having that passion behind you.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Nottingham Forest there, because I think they've lost now, 5 of the last 6 games. Nobody has scored less goals in the Premier League, apart from Wolves.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, look, Sean Dyche is really struggling with Nottingham Forest. It's loss after loss, and when I predict Forest games, I sometimes give them a shot because I believe in their manager. But right now, I can't believe in anything. It's a really bad position to be in to go to Villa away. One of the hardest games of the calendar year, we know that, especially on their form, which they're in. Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, licking their lips. You don't want to come up against it. Tielemans, etc. I don't need to list all the players. You know how good they are. This is going to be a Villa win. It's a question of how many. I'm going to go 2-0, and I nearly went 3.
I think you got that wrong, because Villa have been winning, Theo, but often by a single goal.
Winning.
By a single goal. That's the key here. So
They lost by 3 last week, though.
Yeah, but that's Arsenal away, isn't it? But at home, they've got a lot of
Didn't stop Wolves, though.
1-goal margin win. Anyway, I'm going to say this is a derby. It's going to be closer than you think. Might even be a draw. But I'm going to go Villa 2, Forest 1. Brighton and Hove Albion against Burnley of Lancashire is 14th against 19th. They're now Brighton of late. I think it's 3 points in the last 6 games. They came back twice, didn't they, recently against West Ham United, but they desperately need a win.
Yeah, Brighton, they need to batter someone. So playing Burnley at home, I think it's really come for them. The perfect match to play right now. Burnley, on one hand, it's hard to predict. In my opinion, I already see them as relegated. I don't know if you see that.
I kind of do.
I could see this as a Brighton win. It's a question of how many. Will they unleash and just go and score quite a few? I think the manager needs that for the fans.
That's a very good point, Theo. But Brighton are in this position where they've forgotten how to win. But also, you look at the table, and it's really tight in the middle, isn't it? So if Brighton can get a couple of wins, suddenly we're talking about Europe again. Burnley, no wins in 10 games. But
terrible.
Can they sneak something here?
Brighton are in poor form for what they consider, what they should do with that squad. So I think this is anyone's game, but I'm backing the home team. I think at the Amex, with the players that Brighton have got, they're going to find a way to score a couple goals and win this game 2-0. I'm sorry, I've got to back them.
But you're wrong there, Theo, because look at the last 8 away games of Burnley.
Okay.
What happened every time?
They score.
Burnley score away from home. Of course, now that I've said all that nonsense, it's going to be a clean sheet. For that reason, Theo, I'm going to go with a Brighton win. They desperately need it. They're a better team than Burnley, but I'm going to go 2-1. Wolverhampton Wanderers against West Ham United is 20th against 18th. It's an enormous relegation scrap. 2 teams who drew last week. Now, let's talk about Wolves, Theo, because that point against Man United, it got Goldbridge fuming. It's a very good point. But half a season, 19 games in the top flight without a win. Do you know who the last team was to do that and when?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, it was Bolton Wanderers
No.
in 1902.
Wow.
So 124 years ago, that happened to Bolton. 19 games in the top flight without a win.
Sounds like Bolton.
Oh my God, let's not talk about Bolton right now. We're doing all right, but we're not doing... Anyway, let's talk about West Ham United, Theo. Surely they come here and win.
Well, West Ham United, their fans feel the same way as we do about Bolton right now. It's kind of just not good enough. It isn't,
Yeah.
even with Nuno, who's a manager who does get the job done. We saw that as previous clubs, but right now it's just not working. I think this is an opportunity for Wolves to win. I know I've said this a lot, and I've predicted it several times in predictions, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say Wolves are going to win.
No, Theo.
I'm going to say they're going to win.
I'm sorry, there is a Jeremy Beadle behind us, so you don't have to do that. Cut that out. What's the real score going to be?
West Ham on their poor form. I have a feeling at home they're just going to do it. They're going to score once and they won't concede. A 1-0 win to Wolves. This is their time. They can't just finish the season on 5-6 points.
But they can, Theo, because they're absolutely hopeless at the moment.
They're going to win this. They're going to.
But
how many points will they be on after a win? 6 or 7?
How can you keep doing that? Oh no, please. 6-7 is not allowed in 2026. Tell your kids.
Why?
Tell your
Why?
mum
You're
and dad.
the one who said it.
Yeah, I used to do it. It was funny for about 5 minutes. It's just not funny anymore.
Well, the boomers are saying that it doesn't mean anything. Boomers are saying it doesn't mean anything.
I think it should end.
You used to have real memes.
I think it should end, Theo, in 6 or 7 days.
No.
Oh, see, you didn't do it.
No.
I just.
No, you made a really good point.
You.
Okay, fine. How many points are Wolves going to be on after this game week? Tell me.
Do you know what's going to happen here, Theo? Now, West Ham, I think it's 8 games since they won. But there's that 4-point gap with Nottingham Forest. They absolutely have to come here and win. And I'm going to be quite honest with you, Theo. I nearly went for a Wolves win.
Yes.
But statistically, you look at 19 games without a win, how can you possibly say they're going to win here? So for that reason, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Sometimes things defy the odds in football, and that's why I'm going Wolves 1-0.
AFC Bournemouth against Arsenal now is 15th against 1st, Theo. And I want to talk about Bournemouth because I know they've got like 10 games without a win.
Yeah.
But I was there at Stamford Bridge and Bournemouth possibly should have won that game. They played some really nice football.
Yeah.
They really do. I know Semenyu's probably on his way out. What a shame that is. And by the way, he was on throwing duty. Evan Nielsen, I like Brooks, I like
Semenyu's
Cliver.
been doing side quests recently.
Has he?
He's got the long throw perk now, and he was just baptised on Bournemouth Beach.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
Everything's changing in his life. Maybe football club soon.
How can you swim this time of year? My daughter was saying she's going to go up to the Hampstead Ponds for a swim.
Shocking.
January the 2nd. How can you do it? Anyway, less of that nonsense, Theo. Bournemouth are a good football team and they should win more games. And they were really nice to watch.
Yeah.
They could have beaten Chelsea, but Arsenal won 4 in a row. I mean, the better would say that Arsenal win this.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are now expected to win every single game because they're Arsenal. They're top of the league. Everybody around them dropped points last week. Chelsea, Man City, they didn't. That's the difference. So, can Arsenal keep winning? They're going to make it hard for them at Bournemouth. You saw the way they played against Chelsea. That was a difficult draw for them, and Bournemouth really fought well against Chelsea. So, that ended up getting Maresca sacked. Will Arteta be sacked after this game? Obviously not. But what I will say is, Bournemouth are going to find a way to stop Arsenal. They're going to find a way.
Wow.
From somewhere. I don't know what it would be. Maybe some David Brooks masterclass. Somebody is going to get their act together. They're going to score maybe after Arsenal and the game's going to end 1-1. That's my prediction, Dad. What do you think about that?
I think, do you know what? That is not stupid. If I hadn't been to that game at Stamford Bridge, I might have laughed at that prediction. Yeah. But Arsenal away from home are not brilliant. Now, I know they're top of the league. We should give them respect. What, they're 4 points clear? But they're not brilliant away from home. So a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw, because the thing about Bournemouth that I like, Theo, is that attacking presence. And they always look to go forward and hit you on the counter and whip those balls in. And Chelsea's defending was woeful at times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bournemouth will score a goal here.
You think so?
But Arsenal will score 2-1 to the Gunners.
2-1 to the Gunners. That's the most likely outcome, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. Leeds United against Manchester United is 16th against 6th. But forget the league positions, Theo. It is Yorkshire against Lancashire. It is two teams who hate each other. The fans detest each other. And they travel over the Pennines, don't they, to visit each other. Rarely, actually. Because it's rare that these teams are in the same league. This could be a spectacular game. And what makes it interesting is that Leeds are playing really well. Unbeaten in 6 games.
True.
Play some great football.
They are playing some great football. They've just got a solid Liverpool 0-0 draw at Anfield. We watched that game, didn't we, Dad?
A little clap for that.
And I think
here.
Leeds, when DCL scored that goal, I think we were celebrating because they fought so well for that one moment just to go ahead. And you know DCL comes and picks up goals wherever he is right now. He's on fire. And I think maybe he deserves 90 minutes against Man United. Or maybe the impact of him coming off the bench makes it more exciting. I know what he's doing there with Tanaka, with DCL. It's clever. But Leeds are a strong team right now. They've got good players. You know, Ampadu, good player. James Justin, good player. And I think overall, Leeds can beat anyone on that day. At Ellen Road, that's a bonus. They're going to win this game 2-1.
Do you know
Man
what?
United looks scared. Dad, They look scared.
You make a very good prediction there, Theo, because if you look at Leeds' recent home form, and I think 15 of the 21 points that Leeds have got this season are on their home turf. And it's not just that, not 1-0 wins.
I remember the comments from the last video. Everyone's like, oh, Theo, you always underestimate United. Then they drew to Wolves.
Yeah.
And I backed them to win 2-1. And I just said in the video, all I said in the video was that game could be a draw.
Yeah.
And people were like, Theo, why are you always saying on Man United? It's the easiest fixture list, and they drop points. So I should have stuck to my guns instead of reading too many of the comments.
Yes.
I should have listened to Thogden's ball knowledge instead of YouTube Thogden audience ball knowledge. I'm being dead serious. So now I will. I'll stand on ground. Leeds 2, Man United 1. That's my prediction.
You just disrespected everyone out there. There's some very smart people behind that camera.
United fans, they're deluded. I think this is proof of it. And I can look at the comments. No, not all, but some of the comments that always say, Theo, you're wrong about United, then I get it right. I hate being right against you guys. I don't want to be right, but I am. That's why I'm winning predictions.
But the thing about, wow, shots are fired all over the place.
All over the game.
I'm ducking.
I'm just fucking firing
keep
right
my
now.
heat down. Right, Leeds United, Theo, at home recently, have been scoring goals. They've been scoring 3. I think they scored, 3-3 draw. Was that with Liverpool? Chelsea, they scored 3. So this could be Leeds scoring 2 or 3. Manchester United, as we've said, 5 at the back against Wolves. What is that? Can someone explain that to me?
Every time United, Amorim more precisely, tries a 5 at the back, doesn't work. Then they go to a 4-back, they win a game, and then he goes back to a 5-back, they lose a game. So
I'm going to give a prediction that I think might be wrong, and I'm going to go Leeds 1, Manchester United 1.
Wrong in which way?
I think it could easily be like a 2-2 or a 2-1 to Leeds or a 3-2 to Leeds.
Yeah.
There could be goals here. And I think,
could be goals.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you got that right.
Let's see. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. They need the points. Actually, they're in a good position right now. 6 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
They don't need it, but I think they're on fire, so I back them. So let's go to the next game.
Fulham against Liverpool now is 11th against 4th. 2 teams who drew last weekend. But you know what, Theo? These are 2 teams in really good form. They both got 10 points in the last 4 games. But I looked at the history books here. Recently, Liverpool's record against Fulham is superb. So if you go with the recent form books, and by the way, Marco Silva, I don't think he's ever got a point against Liverpool. So you go with the form books, Liverpool win this. But I think you might disagree with that.
Yeah, I do disagree because I watched Liverpool for 90 minutes and it hurt my head. Unless they come out fighting because they let down everybody watching New Year's telly and Onslaught and everyone at Anfield who sadly had to pay to go to watch that. It was awful. It was a disgrace.
I mean, okay, a disgrace from the point of Liverpool. For Leeds, it was a really good result.
Don't get me wrong, Dad. Leeds waited for their moment, defended hard, but Liverpool looked wasteful. They really, I'm not going to say they miss Salah because I've seen them play without Salah very well.
But they do miss Salah.
They do miss Salah, they do. And people don't want to admit that, but it's true. Ekitike had some good moments on his own, but it felt like he was the only guy that had the ability to go round. Chiesa just looked like he was a bit of a headless chicken when he came on. Gakpo, average. Other winger. The problem is there was no one exciting going forward apart from Hugo. It was just Hugo. And, Curtis Jones just played some average part. I think he's just mediocre all the way around. I don't think Liverpool are good enough right now, especially with Isak out. They missed Isak in that game so bad.
Yeah.
To win a Premier League. They're not good enough. The squad is not good enough. They won't win a Champions League or a Premier League right now. They can't. They won't.
Yeah.
Something is really wrong there.
It's a bit of a transition time, Theo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to defend Chiesa and I'm going to defend Gakpo because they came on very late. I think Florian Wirtz is slowly working out what the Premier League's all about and working out what Liverpool's all about. But yes, Liverpool have not scored 3 goals at home for months and months and months.
Wirtz had some moments, but he doesn't change games.
I think going forward, he will turn into a good player and he will become a game changer, but he's not there yet. So that Liverpool team, they had more possession than Leeds. You actually thought if there's a goal, it could be like an 80th minute Liverpool goal, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's true. They did,
but it's an off day.
But DCL was the one who got ruled out the goal.
I know.
And if the rules changed, that would be given.
Yeah.
And Leeds would be going home. They celebrated a 0-0 draw. Imagine how they would have celebrated a 1-0 win. The Leeds fans would be on pitch.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. Fulham, they did brilliant to hold Palace to a draw in Selhurst Park, especially after a Mateta boom, to come back late with, missing a lot of first teamers, but Tom Kearney, who's usually a backup, but he is the club captain, he's been there for donkeys, to go and get that important equaliser. I mean, that's a bit of a fairy tale story, a best way to start 2026 for those Whites.
Do you know what? I just think, I'm going to guess that you've gone with a draw here, and that's a very sensible prediction. I'm going to go different and say Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. And I think maybe a goal's going to come from an unexpected place, somewhere like Conor Bradley or Gravenberg.
I just think Fulham have been solid. Fulham have been solid.
They have been solid, but Liverpool recently have been solid.
They weren't solid against Leeds. You can't call that 0-0 solid.
They haven't lost.
I don't
for
think
a while.
a single Scouser coming out that stadium said that Leeds game was solid. Comment down below. If you went to that game, did you call that game solid? I call that game average. Liverpool are the current Premier League title holders. Are we forgetting that? And because of that, they're going to come down to London. It's going to be a tough place to go. I think Fulham are actually doing well without the Nigerians. I know they're missing 3 first-teamers, but their results have been solid and they fight till the end with Marco Silva. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. It's a quaky Liverpool and points are up for grabs.
Tottenham Hotspur against Sunderland, 12th against 7th, Theo. This is 2 teams who were involved in goalless draws last weekend and a really hard game to predict, isn't it? Because it's Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs, there's this curse, isn't there, at the stadium right now? And can they overcome that and win 2 or 3 in a row at their home turf?
Well, Sunderland are a very good setup defensively, which is very different to Tottenham. The way they played against Man City to hold them off, they made it so difficult. They basically gifted another red team in the Premier League, but we won't get into details on that just yet. Spurs need to win. Sunderland are solid all around the pitch. The way that, is it Alvarate and Mukiele? You know that South American centre-back with Mukiele? Them two have such a good partnership at the back. They read each other really well. They get stuck in when need be. Haaland, Bernardo Silva, none of them could find a way through. And maybe with a bit of luck, they would have had a moment. Doku as well, every time the defender was right on him. So they're a real, I actually give credit to the director who decided to buy those players in the summer, because when you buy a lot of players, a lot of risk, but they've adapted so quickly at Sunderland. So well done to Reggie Labrie for adapting a tactic that works too. And now I think they can go anywhere and you're kind of worried to bet against them. I have been all season because I got it wrong early and now I don't really know what to do with the Mackhams. So how are you predicting this, Dad? Are you going to go against Sunderland and back Spurs on their bad form, on their weird record at home?
You know what? I think it's going to be very low scoring. The thing about Sunderland, you've hit the nail on the head. They make it very hard to play against.
Yeah, Xhaka,
we watched that first half. I'll be quite honest, I turned off at half-time and I put Broadchurch on. I thought, you know what, this is going to be 0-0. There was that one opportunity.
I watched it on Sky Go on my phone because Dad went to watch some Netflix.
I just switched it over, and I'm sorry about that, but I've just watched so much football.
I was drinking tea with my Russian grandma, watching it on Sky Go.
I know you were.
I was more interested in learning Russian with my grandma than the match.
There you go.
Can you believe it?
Haaland missed his chance. He
did.
A great chance created by Phil Foden. He missed that, and you just thought, this is 0-0. So I think this is going to be low scoring. The only trouble with Sunderland is away from home, they don't score many goals.
And when you're a bit more under the cosh away from home, it's more likely you're going to concede than at home. Because at home, you get the fans going every time they make a block, everyone feels like it's a goal. When you're away, it's kind of just, the aura in the air is different.
Yeah.
The home team are going to push and go for it. Having said that, it doesn't usually happen for Tottenham. It happens for most other teams. So weirdly, I'm going to say Tottenham win 2-1.
Yeah.
They're going to win by 1 goal difference. I just think it's a safe bet. I'm not the guy that usually goes for the safe bets. You know me, but something tells me Spurs win this game. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a 1-0 or a 2-1. So hopefully I get the extra point, the 1 goal difference.
And I've gone very similar to you, Theo. I think low scoring. I'm going to go 1-0 to Spurs. Everton against Brentford is 8th versus 9th. It's an interesting mid-table clash up at the Hill Dickinson Theo. Now, Everton, one of the 3 teams to win last game week. And you look at their home record recently, Theo. 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1. So it's quite difficult to call. They tend to lose to the goodish teams, the bigger teams, and beat teams like Brentford.
Well, how good were Everton, though, Dad? How good were Everton without Iliman and Dye, without Kinnan Dewsbury Hall, to go to Forest and win?
Yes. I know, Theo.
So good. No Grealish. So good. James Garner, what a midfielder. A goal and assist, ran the show. Does he deserve a shout for the England squad now?
I wouldn't go that far. I think that's unrealistic, Theo. But what I would say, there's 19 more games in the Premier League before the World Cup. So there will be a surprise or two.
You play well in the Premier League. You guide your team to a victory, a difficult away match. What more does he have to do?
Well, there's a wealth of talent, as we know. There's even players like Phil Foden who are worrying about their places in the squad. So anything can happen.
At the back.
As you know, I've always been a big fan of Tarkowski when he was at Oldham, when he was at Brentford. So there's a lot of players. So every England player out there should be just give it their 110% for the next 19 games.
But Everton are still missing important players.
Yeah.
And Brentford, they're very solid. We know that. I know they've had last week, they drew 0-0 to Spurs.
Yeah.
Usually that's a good draw for them. But with their expectations at home, it's almost 2 points dropped because Brentford are that good at the G-Tech.
They are. And conversely, Theo, look at Brentford's away record. Now, I know they went to Molineux and won, didn't they?
Yes.
But 5 of the last 6 away from home, they have lost. They're very much a home and away team, Theo. So because of that, you've got to say Everton are slight favourites.
How much football is there at the moment? We're doing predictions every 3 days.
I know.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
I can't keep up, but I will say this game's going to be a 1-1 draw. I've been a bit underestimating Everton compared to their results last few weeks, and I nearly went for an Everton win. I had a feeling you'd go for an Everton win, so I wanted to kind of cross over the draw barrier, because I feel like Brentford, why would you write them off? Very strong team. Igor Thiago, Kevin Schade scored a hat-trick a couple of weeks ago. Good players on the road. I think they can do something.
But they don't travel, and that's my reason, Theo. And Everton are not wasting time by drawing. It's like, we'll lose one, then we'll win one. And
but they just drew one.
And because
now I'm
of
saying
that,
they're
Theo,
draw one.
with what I think is a fairly lightweight squad, they are completely overachieving. So a massive shout out to David Moyes and Everton for what they've achieved in the first half of the season, because they are overachieving week in and week out.
Okay, what's your prediction?
They're going to win this one, 2-1. Newcastle United against Crystal Palace is 13th against 10th. It's the two European giants, Theo, meeting at St James's Park. Now let's talk about St James's Park. Look at the last 10 games. Newcastle are unbeaten, and something interesting has happened in the last 8 games at home for Newcastle. Can you tell me what that is?
What, Newcastle?
Yes, Newcastle's last 8 home games, they have scored exactly
2 goals.
2 goals.
Yeah.
Every single time. So I hope that we've both gone for Newcastle scoring 2.
I have, and Crystal Palace 0.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
Mateta, he scored a good goal. That's true. But the cross coming in, he doesn't usually get that sort of produce when Daniel Munoz is not in the team. He's injured, and they're missing a few stars as well. So I don't know. I feel like the momentum has fallen a little bit with Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is. They dropped points at home to Fulham. That was a very winnable game. Now to go to Newcastle, the northeast, difficult place to go. Both playing European fixtures. We know that. I'm gonna favour the home team at St James's Park. I just think Walter Marder, Anthony Gordon, you now got Wissa back, lots of forward threat, loads of goals from places, 2-0.
Yeah, even Joe Linton is scoring at the moment, Theo.
Yeah.
So yes, I kind of agree with that, Theo. I mean, Crystal Palace had that 3 games that they lost, and then for me, it was a decent draw. They had to not lose that game against Fulham, and they did that.
When you're 1-0 up though, you're not having that mentality.
True, Theo, and I get that. But I think 1-1, we both predicted a 1-1 score right there, Theo. And Palace will be pleased after 3 defeats in a row not to lose.
Yeah.
But you've got to go with Newcastle to score twice and win. So I will go different to you and say 2-1. And last but not least, it's Manchester City against Chelsea. It's 2nd against 5th. It is undoubtedly the game of the day. Now, Manchester City went to the Stadium of Light, kind of disappointed, Theo. But my goodness, they will be expected to win this game of football.
Absolutely. What a cracker at the end of the week this is. I mean, Chelsea have no more manager, Enzo Maresca. I was in New York seeing Chelsea lift the Club World Cup. Maresca shook Donald Trump's hand, lifted that gold badge that sits on their club kit for 4 years now. World champions on their chest. Months later, sacked.
Well,
that's shocking.
I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, this shows the expectations. Chelsea are 5th, by the way, and you get sacked because you drew with Bournemouth. Now, I was at that game, Theo, and it was wonderful. It was 2-2 after about 27 minutes. Estevao, by the way, is exciting. I actually thought, I'm not a massive fan of Garnacho. Sometimes his touch is not very good. I thought he was better than what Neto did when he came on. Cole Palmer, surprisingly taken off after 60 minutes. The problem is not at the front. You've got some exciting players there. It's about at the back. They were woeful at the back.
Yeah.
And now it's partly because, oh, by the way, Reece James only came on later.
Yeah.
So you started without Reece James. How can you spend £1 billion and just have that poor quality of defence?
Yeah, it's crazy. Chelsea are going for a bit of a blip, and you saw it. You watched 90
and I
minutes,
saw it.
you know that.
And by the way, David Brooks had an absolute sitter. Bournemouth could have won that one 3-2.
Having said that, both teams that we're talking about drew last week, and Man City will be very frustrated that they didn't get something at Sunderland.
Yes.
So they're going to have a bit of anger and a bit of hunger in them back at the Etihad, the place that they know and love. But it's a funny old sport. This could go either way. Chelsea can turn up and win. We've seen Spurs do that a few years running at Etihad.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. They can.
Do you know what? If that happens, Theo, it's because of let's say a masterclass by someone like Estevao or Cole Palmer. Of course, Cole Palmer's going back to his old stomping ground.
Old stomping ground. Palmer will be thinking, I want to get another goal against City. That's just history. Estevao as well. You know, it's Brazilian against the Brazilian sort of thing. And then let's not forget the whole dilemma of City need to catch Arsenal. I predicted a draw with Arsenal against Bournemouth. So City is 2 points gained back on the first place rival of the Premier League title race. So I think they need to win this, City. But Chelsea players might be licking their lips thinking, let's show the new manager, whoever it's going to be, if it's going to be that lad from Strasbourg, the manager from Strasbourg, the ex-Chelsea player, Rosenoir, what's his name?
I don't know, Theo, but I don't think whoever the manager is, if they've got one by the next game week, how can you affect things
players
so
who want
quickly?
to perform to show the new manager, I want to start. You know, if they're fighting for places.
Theo, they should be performing day in, day out.
I'm just saying the situation they're in.
And you're right. But going on to that pitch against Bournemouth, I think I predicted a 3-1 Chelsea win.
Yeah.
You know, I was surprised by how good Bournemouth were made to look. And it was partly because Bournemouth have got some good players. We talked about them earlier.
Woeful
and it's
back.
partly, yes, because they were woeful, disorganised.
At the back, yeah.
Disorganised at the back.
What do they do at Cobham? What do they do at Cobham is my question.
And that's a very good question. Whatever happens
have all the
there,
talent.
in the next few days, it's too little, too late.
Probably
because
what the owner was
Manchester
saying.
City are scoring 3 goals, 4 goals at home.
0 against Sunderland.
Every single week. Yeah.
0 against Sunderland.
Away from home. On their home turf, they are scoring goals for fun.
Will Haaland have sipped his full-fat milk and his tomahawk? That's the question. If he has, Man City will win and it will be easy. I'm going to go for a smashing. Chelsea are without a manager, they're without tactics. Nobody knows what the future of this club holds. City know what it is. They've got Pep. They've got Etihad record, which is brilliant recently. 3-0 Man City, battering. That's my prediction. 3-0.
Do you know what?
They'll score 1-2 and then they'll go, do you know what? We can really smash this Chelsea team and score a third. Can't you just see that? Like gradual. They'll be singing tearing Cockneys apart again in the last few minutes of that game. I know they will.
Manchester City will score 3 goals and Chelsea will score 1.
Wow.
3-1 to City.
So we both basically agree on batterings. Let me know in the comments. Chelsea fans, it's a bit of a worrying time for you. That is our first 2026 predictions complete. The Premier League is getting tasty. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.